Welcome back to another video, a slightly different one, but we're still starting in the shed. It's actually 19.8 degrees centigrade out here. The shed is a little bit warmer than it is outside. It's warmer outside than it is in the house. I've needed these on in the house. I'm joking. I do wear them in the house, as you guys have seen before. I've got my one glove on because I can't operate my phone with a glove on the other hand, and a hat, and I'm probably going to get too warm. What I'm doing for this video, it has been like 4 seasons of weather over the last week. We have had the promised second winter, so we've definitely been in full spring, and I think, trying to cross my fingers with big gloves on, that we might be on the other side of it now. When I looked at the weather forecast for the next week a couple of days ago, we were still going to be getting sub-zero temperatures, and it was still going to be really cold on the night next week. But now it's looking as though the coldest we're going to get for 1 or 2 nights is 3 degrees, which I'm okay with. I think it's 6 degrees continuously that grass starts growing again. We have seen some spurts of growth, which I'm really pleased about, but I think that's the number that you need it to be for the grass to start growing and everything to start coming back into life. But we've definitely seen some growth in some things, weeds if nothing else. Anyway, so what I thought I'd do for this video, because I haven't got any footage from during the week because it's just literally been covered in snow, covered in ice, blowing a gale, raining, every single of the miserable weathers that you can think of for this time of the year. Anyway, I love snow, but at Christmas, if you don't mind. So I thought we'd have a little look around and talk about a few different things. I haven't had a look around all week. I wonder how the rhubarb has survived, because that was doing amazingly, and I was hoping to have our first rhubarb meal last weekend, which didn't happen because it was literally covered in snow. I don't know if that'll have thrived or if we're going to have to wait for new growth on that, so we can look at that together. There is quite a few things that need, tidying up, rearranging. I can already see a few weeds that have managed to come through. Goodness me, there's more than a few. So there is a lot of work to get done, which I won't be doing in this video. I just thought we'd have a look around together. I want to get started on some more seeds. We can look at the onions and the garlic that I got in. Thank you so much for the responses last week on that. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed on the garlics, the sets, onions rather, the sets that I put in. Hopefully they'll come true from experience of you guys. Soft is never good, I guess, but we'll wait and see. Based on what people have experienced before, we should be okay. So we're going to have a little look around together. I'll finish in the greenhouse because I've not been in there. Oops, just took out my little mulberry tree. I've not been in there for a while, other than to just make sure that the seedlings are surviving, which they are, and we'll finish in there after we've had a little look around. This is the mulberry tree that's just wiped me out. I got this for my 40th birthday, so where am I now? 42. So a couple of years old, and hopefully it's doing okay. It's been out here in all the weathers. So I will top this up with compost, obviously weed it. This is my little fig tree, which was really small when I got it, but hopefully this is doing okay too. Tell me if it's not. This got tied to this cane because it was leaning terribly at one point. I can't remember why. I hope you can hear me over this wind. This was is it parsley or coriander, whichever one, which needs taken out, and I'm hoping that this might come back for a second flush. Does that happen? What have we got here? This is black peppermint, a mint obviously. This is mint curled spearmint, so I'll just chop all of these off. This is clearly coming back looking fine. This looks dead. Was rosemary, we shall see, but I think that's well and truly dead. Oh, hello, I forgot you were in there. Come on, let's lift you onto here. You can go down there. Lovely. What have we got over here? What have we got over here? I think that's lemon balm. This is valerian. This is good to help you sleep. This is marshmallow, which obviously needs taken out, and the grass needs taken out, and everything needs new compost on the top. This is some form of mint. Can't remember what type. Might be spearmint. And another one. As you can tell, I went through a mint phase. I think this is French tarragon, which if this survives, I will be amazed, because it doesn't like the cold. So we shall see. So I've just got a few little herbs going on down here. When all this gets tidied up, 'cause it's obviously just a huge mess at the moment and over winter, this looks lovely with herbs and flowers and things, and mostly for teas, some for making my own jellies and things with mint jelly, etc. But yeah, it looks lovely in the spring. And then just alongside here, everything's got that winter sort of look to it, a bit bedraggled. These are all strawberries, and looking at them, they all look like they've survived just fine and they can get planted up. I did put a load of strawberries in the bottom plot where the pigs are going this year, so I'll need to get those taken out. Actually, I've just reminded myself there. In this little trough, this little planter, this is purple sage, which looks like it's a little bit unhappy, but has given still around, and just a traditional common thyme. These are lavenders, which need topping up desperately. I wasn't sure that these were going to survive, but they have. So these might even need just completely topping up with fresh compost, or I may plant these somewhere over in the actual veg plot borders. And then just behind me here, we've got some cuttings that I tried. So there's gooseberry here, which is actually already coming on, so that's fantastic. Gooseberry cutting, some form of currant cutting, which may or may not have survived. As you can tell, these have just been left here, unfortunately. This is elderberry tree. Very pleased about that, because I'd like to put these on the riverbank. These were just from cuttings that I practiced myself, and the same for this one as well. I think that's elderberry. Yeah, it is. Look at the leaves are the same. Love elderberries, elderflower and elderberries. These catkins that you can see all over the place are off the tree above me. This bugger here doesn't have it. This whole arm of it needs taking off. It makes the whole pergola, or pagoda, whatever they're called, rock. Anyway, so this is creeping thyme, which is really nice as well. And this is another creeping thyme. Not sure why I've got so many, but I have. And then let's go over here. This is the perennial kale, which is also covered in the catkins, which is looking a lot happier than it was, because at one point this was just looking so fed up, and I thought I'm going to put it in a pot, because at least if it's, that's the difference. This one here went in at exactly the same time, and obviously hasn't been in a pot, has just been using all of the groundwater and growing as much as it wants, and this is what the pot has done in terms of restricting it. Having said that, it's my backup in case I manage to kill this one, or the other way around. Now here we can see the spinach is actually starting to come. This was direct sown in autumn of last year, and there was 2 or 3 rows of beetroot as well, which I'm going to obviously replant all of this, because that was just an experiment, and that hasn't done so well. But the kale, there was 3 in here. One's gone, obviously, and the 2 that are left are the black Tuscan, and they're looking as though they're growing quite well, and they haven't been covered. So the other one that we all talked about, this one here, seems to be coming on not too badly, despite the white fly attack. So that's really good. So that can get planted over as number 3 again. And these are 2 here, which are looking very sad. I look as if they might actually be trying to go to flower. I'm not sure, we'll see. I'm not taking them out though. These are Portuguese kale. These will hopefully pick up now that the weather's hopefully on the turn. The black Tuscan has just shrugged it off as if it was nothing. I just want to say, I meant to say at the beginning of the video actually, I'm full of cold, so bear with me as well this week. I've got coughing fits all the time, and if I don't sound myself, or if I sound out of breath, that's why. So thank you for bearing with me. Anyway, that's the kale that's in this bed. Lots of room for other things as well to go in, so I think I'm going to interplant these with some radish, because I've got plenty of those that are ready to go out now. And I'm definitely going to get some out, because I was going to hang fire because of the original forecast that I told you about, but now it's looking like it's not going to get too low, and the radish should be absolutely fine. Broad beans and things like that as well, so that's what I'm going to be spending my weekend doing when I get time in the garden, which you'll see on the next video. Oh look, the sun's coming out. So this bucket's just my compost bucket that I always carry around, and look, this is the wild garlic, which we will be using in lots of recipes coming up. As you can see, wild garlic spreads its seeds everywhere. What I'm hoping to do is take some of these, I mean they're literally everywhere, I'm hoping to take some and replant them just around the property, and then we can have wild garlic for days. I'm not too worried about it in where the pineapple sage is. That's what that monstrosity is, because the wild garlic will be finished by the time the pineapple sage comes through. The chives are looking amazing. I'm so pleased with those. Oh, what's this? I can't remember. Feverfew, yes, that's feverfew, and every year I think it's dead, and every year it comes back. It comes back with abundance as well, so that's not too worried about that just yet. But I'm really excited to be getting to use some of these very soon. I'm going to make some scones actually. These are just nothing in any of these just yet. I've been working through them, making sure that they're empty for the ones that I can lift. So there's nothing in these just yet. But those daffs are looking amazing, aren't they? They look brilliant when they're sat in the corner, all happy and bouncy and very yellow. Didn't get too far on with this because the weather and my cold has hit. Grace has done a grand job. She cleaned it all out as best she could for me. A lot of this is stuck to the floor where the chickens were. And I did get the idea of keeping the heat in here as well by kind of creating the compost heap at the back. When that's rotted down a bit, I can plant in it hopefully. So might not be, well, we'll see. I'm not too sure when that'll be. But at the moment, we've got the rotted compost that we've got on here, as well as some of the molehill soil. And this side here still needs doing. She's turned it over as best she could for me because a lot of it is quite stuck together. But I'm going to add in more compost, or literally multi-purpose bags of compost there, just so we can get planted in here with the tomatoes and things like that. Now the elephant garlic onion, what am I talking about? Now the elephant garlic is looking really well, so that's withstood the frosts, no problem at all. And as I said, I haven't been out here since I put this fleece on, and it's obviously been very stormy and it's just blown it off, and I wasn't going to come out and redo it. So let's have a look together. It looks as though everything's done quite well actually. I'm going to get this put away now. It's just I think it's a 30-gram fleece. The garlic's not looking too bad. Oops, sorry. So it's not looking too bad at all. So this is all of the garlic. The first 3 rows at least were Germador, and I think the next one might be Music. There's Music in there somewhere, but I believe Germador is a soft neck variety and Music is a hard neck, so I'll be able to tell the difference. And then obviously the smaller ones there were the elephant garlic. That's looking really well, that's good, I'm pleased with that one. And then in here, the only thing that we've got planted in here is the comfrey at the back. So I'll give this a rake over again, which I'm doing frequently because it's keeping it nice and weed free, except for that one. And that comfrey, as it's coming through, I'm going to keep it in check and just take out some of the smaller bits that are coming through and either give them away or compost them. One of the bad things about this weather is when it's been warm then cold and warm then cold, everything sort of gets checked, but it's not when it's cold and everything can just stop growing for a while and then restart when it's warm. Nothing knows where it is at the moment, so I'm hoping that we haven't lost anything. We've got all sorts starting to come through. Look at this. I think I always get confused if it's almond or, so yeah, this is pear if I remember rightly. No, it might be apple, I can't remember. Honestly, my brain is not working today, guys. I'm very sorry about that. But whatever's coming through, this is definitely cherry. This is jostaberry. I could take some softwood cuttings off that actually, couldn't I? This is cherry. Things are starting to bud. I'm just hoping this weather hasn't done too much to them. Now this here, this is an almond. Tracy, what's this one? I can't remember what this is. Put it this way, we've never had a fruit off it. It's a nut, I think, and we've never had a fruit off it. This down here is pear. You can see that. And then all across the back, which you can't really see because it just looks like twigs at the moment, are apples. This is apple here as well. And then this is chokeberry, this one, which is looking like it's coming on quite happily. And those are the apples at the back there. I think this is willow that Stephen temporarily planted and has now become not temporary, so he needs to get that out sharpish because that will take over and use all of the moisture in the ground. So we need that taken out. I'm sure that's what that is. propagated a lot from a willow tree that we've got just on the boundaries, and he wanted to put some on the riverbank, and I've got those elderberries that I wanted to put on there as well as some plum trees and just general, you know, native and some non-native trees that would grow well on the riverbank. And he's taken the other ones out where he put those in temporarily, but has clearly forgotten about that one. This apple tree here is called Discovery. I need to come in and get it tidied up because it's got a few injuries from the storms that we've had. But this is an absolutely amazing eating apple. So anywhere that's crossing over, I'm going to cut these off. This hasn't started budding just yet, actually. Maybe a little bit. If you can make it out, I've got 3 blueberry bushes down here, so it's different stages of growth. And one's pink lemonade, it might be that one, I can't remember. There's 3 different ones and they should come at different times. And then here I've got the almond. This is the almond tree, definitely. That's looking nice, but why is that one budding? None of the others are yet. We'll see. Anyway, that's all looking good. This is my little rhubarb patch. These guys here are coming through thick and fast. This is all sheep bedding on here, which we put on every year, and there's weeds coming through around these currant bushes, but I will be putting the sheep bedding on that are going out at Easter, so this will get covered at Easter. This rhubarb here my son planted a couple of years ago. All of the others are the same variety. They were here when we moved in, and there was just an empty patch here, which may be because it doesn't grow very well here, but we shall see. So he's put that in a couple of years ago, and it got rooted last year and it did really well, but it didn't thrive as much as these guys. Now this is the blackcurrant bush that I recently, well, not so recently, but you guys saw me prune. That's looking really good, really healthy. Let's go down this side. The raspberry cane test and the gooseberries are looking really well. I can actually walk between them now, so these are already coming on fantastically. These will be ready at the same time as some of the rhubarb as well, so I tend to get gooseberries quite early with the rhubarb. And then here I haven't really done anything else except cover up the cardboard that was exposed. Not sure where that's got. Oh, it'll have blown off the compost heap. So the compost heap is just still getting added to. You can see the kids come out and just tend to throw stuff on the floor instead of on the compost. So when I come out, I'll scrape it all back. I'm going to put a layer of cardboard across the front of it to get rid of all of those weeds, because I need some space to get the barrow in. So I won't be planting at the back there. That'll just be for walking on. And then this section here, all of this square, will be for planting in. A couple of leftover leeks, which I'm not sure how they're still left over, but anyway. And we've also got Jerusalem artichokes in here, which we're just working our way through, to be quite honest. Haven't had any in the last week or so, and any that are on the surface will just get composted because they've been exposed to the frost. It's getting really warm out here now. Let's have a quick look over these beds here, which you guys have seen. Look, the weeds are already coming through prolifically. So that is the first job when I come out this weekend. I'm not doing it today because I'm still really not feeling 100%. And I'm a firm believer on get yourself feeling better before you start and put yourself back too far. So I'm going to make sure that that's my first job on my agenda when I come out and talk to you guys tomorrow, because it's Friday today. And then here we've got, this is the cherry tree that my neighbour was throwing away, asked us if we wanted it. I said of course we do. And that's the grave for baby Dwayne, that you got, not literally a baby in case you're new here. This is Dwayne. So Grace tends to maintain his grave there. She's got some new flowers because she wants to put them all around the area. Those are dry flowers there as well. But what my space here is the mint. This is not in a pot. Quite happy to let it go rampant that way. And then we'll just keep the area around the cherry tree clear. And we've also got comfrey, which is just starting to come through. As you can see, that's the comfrey there. The rest of that isn't. It's weeds. This here Stephen built last year. It was full to the brim, believe it or not, with horse manure, and that's how much it's gone down in 1 year. So this will become plantings for something, whether it'll be flowers or carrots yet, I'm not too sure, because it's high enough to stop the carrot root fly. And then this bed here is just waiting to be planted. Same for this, we've got the asparagus, so we're just waiting. Need to get those weeds out that you can see. They have literally, this is how quickly weeds come. So I'm hoping Charles Dowden's not watching this video because I'm not doing what he tells you to do. One thing though that I'm really determined to do this year is stay on top of the weeds. So yes, there's some that have come through there, but nothing that's not manageable. So I'll be, like I say, as soon as I'm feeling up to it, I'll be out here getting those out tomorrow, and I'll have the help of the kids tomorrow as well. I'm sure a bit of bribery won't go amiss there, and then we'll get all of that cleared, ready to, at least for the plantings when, well, most things can start going out towards the end of March here, for what we've already got in, the onions, the broad beans, etc., the spinach. It's just a case of when I'm going to get them out, but I think that now those frosts look to have passed, or they're really cold, we'll still get frosts up until sort of mid-May potentially. Here from my area anyway, but now that the worst of it seems to have passed, I'm gonna take a punt and get those out as soon as I'm able to, really. Now I'm looking at the strawberry bed now. This is the one that you guys saw me clear last week or the week before. Nothing much doing in this, which is good. A few nettles that need taken care of. I'm going to be using those in cooking though. I'm going to be doing a nettle tea and just generally cooking with them just to get my own back. This next bed was the other nemesis bed that I had. You can see there's one or two weeds sticking through, but apart from that I'm really pleased with how that's doing. And now we get to, this is a rogue raspberry which I want to replant, so I'm just going to leave that on that bed there for now. Look at this. So right, this plant here thrived last year and this one didn't. And I just thought it was having a bad year, but it looks as though it's going to be the same this year. Now, I have no idea why. They're the same variety. I can't remember what variety it is. But this plant also thrived in the first few years. But this seems to be just taking over. Is that what it might be? That this is just more dominant? So this is just getting less of the goodness from the soil? Anyway, if you know, let me know. But it seems to be doing, despite the snow, obviously that's what the discoloration in the leaves will be from. Yeah, looks like we're going to get our first rhubarb this weekend actually. Fabulous. This is the kale plant, perennial kale, which you can see in the weight of the snow has snapped. So that'll go into the chickens. They will be very happy about that. And what I'm doing when I'm out here, as I told you guys before, is just keeping this tidy so that any bad leaves get taken off, and this hopefully will just thrive and just be an abundance of green veg for myself and the animals. This is the rosemary that this is coming on really well. I'm pleased with this. I love rosemary. I'm looking for that beetle bug. Doesn't look like it's on there, but if I find it I just tend to flick it off because I think that's what's been killing one of my other rosemary plants. And then this bed is the tea bed where I grow everything for herbal teas basically, and culinary use of herbs, etc. This rosemary plant's doing okay, but if you see, some of it is dying. I have chopped a few bits off, but you can see, can you see on there some of the brown pieces? I think that's off that blooming rosemary bug. Anyway, this is apple mint that I should have put in a pot here because I wanted to contain it, but I didn't think that, I thought it would be fine, and it's not. So it's literally taken over the entire bottom of this bed. So as that comes through, I'm just going to have to be ruthless with that. Lavender for teas and for smellies and things, very nice. Lavender as well. This is oregano, which has stayed very well. So as we know, you can see from the label there anyway, it's a perennial, but this has overwintered fabulously. I've also got some chamomile that's coming through. This is self-seeded, and that'll be going in teas as well. This lavender seems to be thriving. And this is the bay tree that I'm hoping one day will be absolutely huge. So it's looking really well. I'm really pleased with it. Everything is, although it's still got that winter look, or those are those raspberries that we don't talk about. Although it's still got the winter look, I think it's coming on really well. Things are starting to happen. Oh, these, I didn't talk to you about these. These are the honeyberries. I've talked about them in a previous video though, so hopefully, please be okay. We've got two because you need two to pollinate each other, I'm told. So there's the second one, which is obviously younger than this beast here. So one of the things that I was asked, because I'm not going to be doing anything else really in this video, I thought we could have a chat about how I plan how much to grow basically. And the truth is, I'm really good at planning. That sounds very self-praising. I am really good at planning and sitting down and working everything out and figuring things out and then throwing the plan out the window when it comes to it. I have to take my glove off. Sorry, I've had to take my gloves and my hat off. I'm getting too warm. Clearly not as well as I thought I was. I sound so sorry for myself. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want it to be a miserable video, but I didn't want to miss this week either. Right, let me sort myself out. Hang on. Right, coat's off, cooling off a little bit now. So from it, literally, I sit down and I work out what food do we like, what vegetables do we like, and that's so cliche that you hear, only grow what you eat, but it's true. However, this year I'm going to try and grow a couple of other things, the Florence fennel and the celeriac, which we haven't liked previously, but I thought I'm going to give it a go because it's really good for you, and you can roast it, which I don't think I've roasted it before anyway, and try it in a different way, because really I do really want to be self-reliant on our vegetables. Fruit to some degree, meat 100% and vegetables 100%. So that's kind of the driver for me on I can't grow too much. Things that I know that I'm not too keen on, or we're not too keen on, I grow less of, so I will only be growing a few of the Florence fennel and the celeriac. But things that we'll enjoy, which is pretty much everything else, I just grow as much as I can. Now, I'm aware that that's probably not very helpful sounding, but for example, tomatoes, I couldn't have too many tomatoes. We eat them fresh, we eat them frozen, we eat them canned, we eat them dry, we eat them in recipes, you know, with other ingredients, not just on their own. So I will literally max out my greenhouse with tomatoes. I grow outdoor girl tomatoes as well, which I'll be sowing on next week's videos towards the end of March, because they're an outdoor variety, which I absolutely love, and you guys know about those. So I will grow tomatoes as many as I can. Peppers haven't done as well for me, but we do eat a heck of a lot. Now, I prefer fresh peppers, whereas tomatoes, I'll take them in any way, shape or form. Fresh peppers, we all prefer them more, peppers, we all prefer them fresh. So I'll grow less of those because we tend to just eat them in season. And although you can ferment them and you can freeze them in things, and I do that, we don't use them as much as the tomatoes. Sorry, I had to move angles because my arm's really aching. Woe is me this week, isn't it? Dear me. So peppers, tomatoes, aubergines, for example. I'm not going to go through every single type of vegetable here, don't worry. Aubergines, again, I'll grow maybe 5 plants, and whatever it produces, we will eat. So as we get into the season where our garden is harvesting an abundance, we'll just use everything that we've got. And if we've got too much, which you can never have too much for me, we'll find a way to preserve it. And that's what I grow for. So I've tried different things over the years where you grow everything at once and you harvest everything at once, and then you don't have successional harvests. What I've learned since then is that we need to embrace here, where we are in the northeast of England, we can grow all year round. I've watched a lot of videos where they're in completely different climates, and then I've tried to follow suit of what they do. Which is, you know, harvesting one-off, preserving in mass, which I don't have the time for because we work full-time as well, and we don't have the time to do that. And then not growing anything else for the rest of the year. Well, that's crackers for me, because we have got the ability to, from a climate point of view, to grow all year round, and that's what I've been trying to do, and what we're really definitely, hopefully going to be successful at this year. But really make the effort to be an all year round producer of food for ourselves, basically. So even though we are in the hunger gap now, which is where there's the least amount coming in, we would still be eating, and we still are eating from stores, from your potatoes, your squash, your onions, things that you can have that store really well, your cabbages, you know, all of your winter crops like that, your root crops store really well too. So there's no reason why I shouldn't have a storeroom full of our homegrown produce now as we move March and into April. But then through the summer, you kind of you forget about it in a way, because you've got so much abundance coming in, and you've got so much to manage that you sometimes might forget to get those seeds sown in the height of summer for the winter produce. That's just a little side note that's something that I've done in the past, but this year we've got it all mapped out. So from a how much do I grow point of view, Potatoes, I've been building up my own potato varieties that we like over the last few years, and I'm growing more and more of my own potatoes from seed. But again, it's just working out how much we eat a lot of potatoes. I love potatoes, and occasionally we try to do low carb, so then I try to balance out how many potatoes that our family might want throughout the year, but I'll literally work it out on an average basis. And the same for all of the rest of the crops. Beetroot, I couldn't grow enough beetroot. Beetroot at this time of the year when I'm growing them now will be for fresh eating. When I grow them a little bit later in the year, that'll be for storage. So beetroots are another one, absolutely fantastic. I get every variety, every colour that you can. They are so nice and so healthy for you, roasted, in a variety of ways, not just roasted, but I discovered roasted beetroots last year and the kids love them. That's the main thing for me. And they're just so full of all of the vitamins, the minerals, the antioxidants, whatever it is. They've got so many, so much fantastic stuff in them. So my advice would be just have a rough plan of how much you could eat in a week between yourself or however many people you're cooking for. And then just maybe add 10% just in case, for failures, or in case you want some more. Maybe add 20%, because that's what I think is you can never have enough. And then do what your garden allows. At the end of the day, there isn't much point in growing as everything of every variety or every vegetable if you don't have the space to do it. If you've only got enough to grow enough potatoes or onions or leeks for the year for yourself, then just concentrate on that one crop that you really enjoy or you might get the most benefit from. Some people try to grow the crops that are the most expensive to buy. I just prefer to try and grow things that we enjoy eating. It doesn't matter if it's expensive or cheap in the shop. I prefer to know where it comes from and that I've grown it myself. So really, in summary, I'd sit down now, work out how much we might eat every week. Work it out for if we want to have it. So for example, if we have one cauliflower a week on a Sunday roast, just as an example, I know that I'm going to need at least 52 cauliflowers. Same for cabbages, but then I make a lot of other things with cabbages. They're really, really good for you. I use them in salads and things as well. So I could easily double that, and that would be about the right amount. I talked briefly about the garlic last week. That I think there was 65 bulbs in there. Yeah, 65 bulbs in there, or cloves that will become bulbs. That's, just over one a week. That's not going to be enough for us. But I've been through stores and there's absolutely loads left in stores. So I'm going to peel those and chop them and save them in olive oil. Just as another side note there. So yeah, just figure out what you enjoy eating the most, what the space is that you've got for. Work it out on a piece of paper or a planner in your head, whatever it might be, high level, and then just think, well, actually, I'm not going to have space for all of that. If you can mentally sort of place things in your head, what you might have where, and then pick what you think you'll get the most benefit from growing or the most enjoyment from growing, or what might grow best in your area. So that's my view on it anyway. But I'm by no means, as I always say, I don't tell anybody what to do. That's just my views. So hopefully anybody that's been listening to that will find it useful. But for now, we're going to go into the greenhouse and have a little look how things are doing in there. I'm so sorry guys, I feel like I'm really miserable on this video, and I know nobody will be bothered and everybody will say get well soon, etc., or whatever, but I hope it doesn't come across as that. I'm not miserable at all. I'm just feeling a little bit sorry for myself. Let's have a look in the propagator. Look at this, we're not even plugged in. What are we on now? It's 29.2 now. It's been up to 34. I only reset this earlier. It was down to -3.5 yesterday, but this morning has been okay. So we've got the tomatoes that are doing really well. They are coming on. They've got their true leaves that are all very well present. I don't think I've lost any. Good news is I thought we were done with the peppers, but we've got some coming through which are looking really good as well, so I'm pleased about that. The red orac, I think that seed's no good, unfortunately. And look at this, the ground cherry has done really well. I've got a tomato there, which I'm not even sure there should be any tomatoes in here. And then there's one sweet banana pepper. Oh look, I tell a lie, there is one casualty that I've obviously squashed and it's dried out. But the tomatoes are looking fabulous, so I'm really pleased with those. And like I say, I will be getting the Outdoor Girl tomatoes in very soon too. Now everything else along here is looking very samey. I did want to get them out, as I said to you guys, but just with the weather, I've made the decision, a couple of decisions. One, it was too cold for them, and two, it was too cold for me. There's a few things here that definitely need watering, so I'll get that done too. I've moved these peppers, the mustards, over. because people kept tipping empty buckets into them when they were finished with the horses' buckets, which was really frustrating. But anyway, that's sorted now, and the radish are looking really good too. So I'm going to give these a little water, not the mustards because they're okay, but I can see the radish are really light and look like they need a bit of a water. Then on this side, we've got at the back, we've got these peas for pods, not for pods, for shoots, which we can just eat exactly like that, and we have been. They need a good trim this weekend, which we'll have. We'll eat those because we've not been wanting them when it's been snowing, to be honest. These cuttings are coming along brilliantly. These are the black currants that you guys saw me take, and the red onions, ready to get these out. Also, I need to catch up on getting things planted out. The calibres are looking good. And then in the greenhouse we have got the sugar snap and the monch too. These will need watering again. I really piled these up on top just to help retain a bit more water and just to give them plenty of things to grow in, because I'm not too sure when I'm going to be able to get them out. I've got the bold hardy beetroot at the back. That's the only beetroot variety I've sown at the minute, which it would have had more, but that was what I started on the 23rd, was it, I think. Anyway, I would have put more in, but again, weather allowing, I've made the decision just to hang fire for a minute. I'll get those in this weekend. Everything else is coming along brilliantly. These are all onions, these spindly looking things here. Coriander cruiser is looking awesome, so pleased about that. And the parsley here, I didn't think any of this was going to work, but these guys, we've got the dill, which is coming through, and the celeriac, which I planted or sowed unwittingly far too early, but it's actually worked, and the celery hasn't. So I think I need some more celery because I think it's that seed, but celery is notorious. You have to just sprinkle the seeds on top of the compost, on top of moist compost, and they need light to germinate. But everything else is looking really good. We've got radish in here, Madania spinach. These guys should have been pricked out already. I've been saying that for a while, but you know, we are where we are. It's okay. Broad beans, it looks like they might have been nipped a little bit by the frost. These guys will come back, no problem at all. Oh, they've been pushing the dill over though. I'm going to give those a water. And then here, the Florence fennel is a bit, maybe that's given up. We'll have to wait and see if it comes back now the frost's passed. And it's time really here for me. These are the turnips, which I should have done in cells multi-sown, but I didn't. And it's the last, really coming up to the end of March is the last time I'll be able to get these sown. Those, and there's a couple of other things that I'm going to get into. For the turnips, the kohlrabi and the Florence fennel, we are, for where I am, it's definitely coming up to the last times that I should be sowing those. So I'll get some more of those in as backups at the end of this week. Now, if you've already got these seeds in and sown, you don't need to re-sow. But for me, I want to get some more kohlrabi in at least, and some more turnips, as well as some more of these other things, not onions, so I've got enough of those. Because I like to have a few different, a few staggerings of them. And also just in case anything happens. I mean, one year we had the lambs got in and they just ate everything that was in there, so I lost all of my kohlrabi and it was an absolute nightmare. So just as a bit of a backup plan, that's what I like to do for me personally. If you don't have that problem, you know, then you can just go with the one sowings, but I think staggered sowings work quite well. Lettuce, for example, excuse me, if you do the cut and come again approach, where you just take the outer leaves and you don't leave them to heart up, then you're never going to finish your lettuce off. If you take the head off for a heart, it probably won't come back. If you just take the outer leaves off, then it'll just keep growing back, and that's all you'll need all season if you've just got one batch. I think I'd like to do both, so I'm probably going to put some more lettuce in, let some of the first ones grow into hearts, and then use the other ones for cut and come again, and just use a combination really. So I will be getting more of those in this weekend. And the things that I'm going to be getting in is more salad onions. I want some of the leeks in, which are the summer, sort of late summer harvested leeks. I will be hanging fire, putting my leeks in that I'll be harvesting it for the winter though. So it depends, you need to check your variety to make sure what time of year they're going to harvest. As we get into the end of March, the beginning of April, depending on where you are, I'll be looking personally to be putting in marigolds and some beans and things along that nature. I've got some of those Greek Giganti beans, which we spoke about last year on some of the videos. those are just, I love them, they're absolutely amazing. But a tip there, if you are growing Greek or any beans that grow upwards rather than just as a bush, I would get your trellis set up now because if you try and put a trellis up, these guys really need something strong to be able to support them. If you don't put a trellis up until once you've already got them planted, then you risk damaging them or not putting something up that's secure enough for them. But I'm going to be getting that done as soon as possible, as soon as I can get Stephen to help me do that, really. So yeah, the beans and the marigolds I'll be putting in very soon. The leeks will be going in this weekend, as well as the outdoor tomatoes. It's not too late to sow tomatoes. It's perfect actually timing to get indoor tomatoes sown as well. So tomatoes that you'll be doing undercover, so it's not too late, so don't worry if you haven't done yours yet. And then finally, the other couple of things that I'll be getting in as we move into early April, probably as I start my Easter holidays, I'll be doing more like daily videos then, which will be more vlog type rather than just on the garden. Anyway, I digress. First time, isn't it, in this video I've digressed. Melons and chard I'll be going in as well. So anything else, there'll be other herbs and things that I've forgotten about and haven't come across. Borage and sunflowers are the other things that I'll be getting in. But there will be other things that I've forgotten that I haven't put on the screen. But I just wanted to give you a bit of an update as to where we are, a little look around, so that as we get into the end of April and the beginning of May, we can do another look around and see all of these things in the ground and see how everything's thriving, really. I still haven't got the greenhouse sorted out. I'm just not feeling up to it, and that's all right. Nobody's gonna hold me to ransom for that. So I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're doing well. We're fine here. As I say, I'm just not 100% with this blooming cold. I'll get back to things as normal soon though. That's what the garden's looking like now. I hope you have enjoyed this little quick look around, and I will be back with another video next week.